So I'm just reading your book. In chapter 12, you mentioned creative adaptations and where acts begin with a story. So how would that apply in learning of mathematics?
Here's what you do. You literally, first and foremost, flip education on its head with mathematics or anything. You flip it on its head. You say, okay, what's fun? What's entertaining? First and foremost. That's going to capture their attention. Once I have their attention, now they can learn. So you make prototypes of all the math things that you're doing. So people can touch and feel and hear and sing and whatever it might be. And then you map that directly to the mathematics. So if everyone who was learning math, and again, there would be, if I was king of the world, okay, let's anoint me king of the world right now. Okay, I'm king of the world. Here's what I'm doing in education. I'm not going to let people go all the way to calculus. They're going to go through algebra first. Then when they go to calculus or trigonometry or anything like that, they have to do it through their respective careers or their respective degrees. So let's say if I'm going to computer science and I'm going to learn big data, I'm going to learn all these mathematical concepts that's revolving around computer science. So I'll go from algebra to that kind of math. Let's say if I was going to go to physics. Okay, now I'm going to go to my calculus and I'm going deep into calculus that's revolving around physics. My calculus around computer science will be specific to that. My calculus or my algebra that's around healthcare will be specific to that. Everyone would not go through the same path, you see. So I would split math into two components. One, which is the fundamentals. Then it splits into the different categories by which your degree is stationed in, or wherever you're going in life. Maybe you're not even doing that. Maybe you're just going into like business or something,
Application of the actual calculus that used, for instance, business calculus.
Right.
Or you talk about classical Newtonian physics calculus, or you could say big data, like the big O notation, or you will be in computer science, or the Boolean algebra,
right?
Or the discrete math,
right? So you see, attention-driven design dictates, and you can read it in my book. Attention-driven design dictates that you put everything in context first. You don't make things this nebulous, component where everyone goes through regardless of where they're going in life. That's not contextual. And so when you do something like that, all of the learners are going to have a split attention effect. They're never really going to be sure about their math. Why do you think so many people say, oh, I'm not very good at math or I hate math? Because they never touched it. They never smelt it. They never dealt with it. They never moved it around. And that's the issue. And the second issue is education is in the dark ages. It needs to be flipped around. First and foremost, if I wanted you to watch, you all out there, I like watching a lot of these old movies.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So I watch these old movies and I call them potato meter, and they're the worst movies ever. And why do I watch these movies? Is because when you're watching it, you can tell the director was so excited about it. He or she thought they were making the greatest movie on the planet, but it turned out like smack, right? And so their attention was based on how they felt while watching the movie, not on the people that they were going to give the movie to, not the fans, if they even had fans. They weren't focused on that. And so
you talk about that. We got plenty of movie that nowadays.
Oh yeah, especially with Disney going. I don't want to get into that right now.
Well, let's ignore that.
Right. So what attention-driven design suggests, first, you know your audience. And I'm talking to educators. I'm talking to learners. I'm talking to martial artists. I'm talking to business people. I'm talking to healthcare workers. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to relationships. I'm talking to everybody for everything. First, know the backstory, put everything in context, right? And then you have to figure out how to separate those things that don't matter in a direction that you're going with the things that do matter in a direction that you're going. And I always say, you got to write your story, because if you don't, someone else will. And that's why you sort of know where you're going, and you have to put the tools that you're going to be using in that direction in which you're going, so that way you can use those tools as you continue on in life. But that's basically what I would do. And by the way, if you all want to know more about this, go ahead and go to buy my book. I mean, there's a lot about this. And I basically did a study, not an official study, but I basically did an 8-year study on implementing a full attention-driven design course. And that's the P2P part. When you're looking at the book, it's add pathways to pipelines. That's what P2P stands for, not peer-to-peer. I know a lot of people are going to think that's peer-to-peer, but it's not. Attention-driven design, pathways to pipelines. And the pathways to pipelines is a personification. It is the implementation of AD as a framework. So I think that, again, if everyone were to understand how important oil is to this country, you'll understand, to any country, how energy, oil, it doesn't matter. How important energy is. The oil of your life is your attention. And every single day, computers, people, things, events, health are all vying for that attention. I call it in the book, well, it's not my term, but I call it in the book attention wars. And there's this war of all these things trying to pull your attention. Obviously, you know, we have AI out there, right? We're all competing with AI as well. AI is learning from us, and we're not necessarily learning from AI because our attention is split in so many different ways, but that's a whole nother subject. So yeah, go buy the book, and that's what I would do with math.